Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, October 31st, 2025. As you can see, I'm not actually on my walk again. I'm actually at the front of my house. It is raining again. So I'm just sort of on our front yard at the moment, or out the front yard because we've got a little bit of breaking proceedings. It's still sort of spitting quite, well, I won't say hard, but it's still spitting, but just enough to be able to get out here and do this video. So I just had a little bit of drama this morning. You can probably see here behind me there. Can you see it there? You probably can't. I'm on face lock. Hang on, see if I might be able to see it. No, sorry, you can't see it. It's on lock. There's a little pond here, and a little bit of drama this morning because as I was actually trying to attempt to go for this walk, there was some ducks in our pond. They always live there, and they've saw me and they've flown off, and I saw them, chugging down the road as they do, and a lady next door was out trying to chase them down. They had little ducklings that had scattered everywhere, so I'm hoping they can find them. I'll just turn this around. So that's our pond there. We got a lot of ducks. Well, not a lot of ducks, but there's a family of ducks that likes to live in that pond. It's only small, but they like to go in there. And they've all scattered this morning, and the little duckies, which are about this big, have all scattered down the road. So I'm hoping that she found them. I tried to help her, but she was on a bit of a mission. As I speak, there's one just there, actually. It looks like the mother. So I'll back off a little bit in case she's looking for her little ducklings. Really hope she finds them. Not good. I'll just turn this around. Poor little bugger. There she is. I know this is a boxing show, but yeah, she's in there looking for her ducks, I think. Anyway, really hope she finds them. Anyway, onto the boxing. I'll just get away from her there so that she doesn't feel any threatened at all. Poor little bugger. All right, well, on to today's news. And after all that, I've forgotten what the day's news is. What have we got? The Tank Davis and Jake Paul fight is in jeopardy. Apparently, Tank Davis has done it again. He's got himself in trouble with the law, this time domestic violence charges, though he has had that happen in the past. And it looks like his girlfriend or partner or whatever was apparently a exotic dancer, let's just say. And he stormed into the place where she works, and he's dragged her out and apparently assaulted her. So this is not the first time, of course, for Tank Davis. It's been a lot over the years. I think he was in court last year on something else. 3 or 4 different incidents with Tank Davis. So what's happening now is that they're expected to press charges, which means that they could have the excuse of actually cancelling the fight because the ticket sales are apparently been in the toilet, and thousands and thousands of tickets still unsold. And what are we, 2 weeks away from the fight? So it looks like this might give them the out. Not sure, nothing's confirmed just yet, but the word is that is what might happen. I'm just looking for Neil here because, just to see he doesn't wander away. He's probably at the front door waiting to get in, actually. I'll see where he is. He's probably sitting at the front door saying, "Let me in, Dad." Yeah, there he is, just sitting on the front porch, wondering what I'm doing out here. I'm just doing the video, bud, not with you today. So we'll see what happens with that anyway. But that is the rumour, is that because the event itself has been so, well, pathetic. No tickets sold, no interest in the fight whatsoever. I forgot that it was even on, if I'm being honest. And I'm assuming that Netflix would expected a bigger showing than what they've got. And as far as ticket sales and coverage and all that sort of stuff, and apparently has been not good. So they're going to maybe use it as an excuse to pan the fight. Now, speaking of another card that now I thought this was actually already finalised and put to bed, but it's apparently just been finalised yesterday, 100%. And that's the big card on December 6th. So that is Pitbull, Cruz, and Lamont Roach, Janabek, Alan Canuli, Erizandi Lara, Steve Fulton, Oshaki Foster, and the Jesus Ramos, Shane Mosley Jr. Fight as well. So 4 really good fights. And I really like this card because I know it's not a superstar card like some of the other events we've seen, but I really like cards like this where it's just 4 really good, solid fights. Okay, we haven't got that real superstar main event that a lot of these cards normally have, but I really like every fight on this card. I really do, in different ways. And I just think it's a real... Well, this is the type of card I would probably prefer, rather than the Canelo Crawford card, where of course the main event was what it was all about, but the undercard was just shocking. Some of the Riyadh season cards have been a little bit the same. I know they get praised a lot, but I haven't been really that excited by that many of the cards. I would prefer a card like this where it's 4 really good, solid fights, rather than 1 superstar fight and 3 so-so fights. I think every fight on this card is really appealing in its own way. I mean, you've got Jesus Ramos Jr. and Shane Mosley Jr. You know, when we're in Vegas, we spent a bit of time with Shane Mosley Jr., watched him spar a couple of times, and a really nice guy. So really looking to see how he'll go against a real class fighter in Jesus Ramos Jr. Big test for him. He knows that. The odds are that Ramos should win that fight, but I'm really intrigued to see well, is his nickname Sugar as well? Probably not. Just Shane Mosley Jr. Can rise to the occasion. Then Fulton and Foster, really good, solid fight, I reckon. I would probably expect... do you go for Fulton? I probably would almost back Foster in this fight. I think O'Shaquie Foster can win this fight. It's a 50-50 fight either way, but I'm really keen to see Fulton at 130. O'Shaquie Foster probably is real. Well, he's had a couple of tests, I suppose, but another really good, solid test for him, whether he can rise to the occasion and defend that 130-pound title. For me, the fight of the card is Erislandy Lara and Janibek Alimkhanuly. Now, I know Lara is, 40-something years old. Janibek hasn't really had a legacy fight yet. But I'm excited that that these two are going to get it on, and they're actually going to unify a couple of those world titles, which should be great. I'm just keeping an eye on Neil. Yeah, he's okay. He's up on the porch there. Yep. Wondering what I'm doing out here and why he isn't inside in the warmth. It's actually not too cold. Actually, I think it's about 14 or 15 degrees, so it's not too bad. It just seems cold because it's windy and wet. But yeah, really looking forward to this fight. Look, I think Lara can win the fight, a bit style-wise. He'll draw Janibek into him. Janibek is that classic sort of Kazakh style when they just come at you and try and just take you out for 3 minutes of every round. But Lara's really cagey, really good jab, good solid straight left, and we saw what the left hand did to Michael Zarafa. So look, I think it's probably still back. I'll probably back Janibek, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lara wins this. I'm going to put it down to the age, and that's probably about all I've got, to be honest. But it's going to be a really good fight. And then, of course, Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach, really competitive fight. I would normally say Lamont Roach probably should win this fight comfortably because of the style-wise of the two fighters. But at 140, he's coming up, or he's had one fight at 135, come up from 130, now at 140. That's what probably gives me a little bit of faith in Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But I've just got a feeling Lamont Roach will carry the weight okay, and I reckon he'll win a decision in this fight. I think he'll outbox Cruz. We've seen a couple of times Pitbull Cruz being outboxed by classy fighters, and I just think... who was the last one that outboxing? Figueroa, I think. And I think Lamont Roach is a more classier fighter and polished fighter than Figueroa. So I think he'll outbox Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But again, just the one doubt is the weight difference. Now, we'll move on. Actually, one thing I did forget actually is on this day. I'll just go through one today. There was a couple on there, but the main one for me, Lennox Lewis on this day in, what year was it actually? There you go. Knocked out Razor Ruddock. It was in 1992 in Kensington, England. As it comes down even more. I don't know why I do it to myself. So 1992, Lennox Lewis knocked out Razor Ruddock in the second round in Kensington, England on this day. So just a quick one there. I wasn't even going to bring it up, but the most delusional post of the day or article of the day. Amir Khan wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, and he says it will be a bigger fight and more eyeballs on it than Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. Now, again, I don't want to give Jake Paul too much credit, but what I will do is give him his flowers, as I say, in that he had 110 or something million people watching that fight with Mike Tyson at the one time. Would have done astronomical numbers with sponsorship and new subscriptions, all that sort of stuff. And to think that Amir Khan, this guy's always just made me scratch my head about his standing in the sport. Now, let's be honest. I mean, hey, look, he had a really good career, but I mean, you remember back to 2008 when he got knocked out by Breeders' Prescott, but did okay. He beat Marco Antonio Barrera, got his record here. Paulo Malignaggi, good win over Marcos Villasana, Zab Judah, but then was beaten by Lamont Peterson, knocked out by Danny Garcia, knocked out Cole by Canelo, and then, which you can forgive. I mean, up to that point, really good career, but he had I thought the embarrassing losses to Terence Crawford and Kell Brook. I thought he really didn't even turn up in those fights. I mean, he tried to get the disqualification against Crawford, was stopped by Kell Brook in a really disappointing fight. And to think that he is now going to step up and try and take advantage of Manny Pacquiao's sort of, most recent 15 minutes of fame. He's been a legend over the journey, Manny Pacquiao, but has been out of it for 4 years until this year when he had that draw with Mario Barrios. So to try and cash in on that, and to think that boxing fans think that Manny Pacquiao versus Amir Khan would be a bigger fight than Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I mean, come on. I understand all the legends are now all getting excited about fighting each other, but I don't consider Amir Khan a legend. I just see him as just another world champion, if I'm being honest, that's had a good career along the journey, but not a great career. Maybe he's got a distorted view because of his standing in England. He gets a lot of attention over there, but I mean, in the worldwide of things, I think even in England, to be honest, I don't think anyone would give two shits if he fought Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao would not waste his time with Amir Khan. Now, I don't want to sort of disparage him too much because he did have a good career. But those two fights with Crawford and Kell Brook, to me, really just showed to me that he was never really one of the greats of boxing. Good champion, but not a great champion, and most delusional champion maybe. To think that we all would want to see him fight Floyd Manny Pacquiao. I was just going to say Floyd Mayweather as well, because he was looking for a fight with him for so many years as well that never came off. Yeah, but no, he might have gave Floyd some issues, I suppose, but Floyd Mayweather, probably the most tactical genius of all time in boxing, would have found a way to work him out, just like all the others. So, I don't know about you, but I would certainly not be paying 1 cent or subscribing to Netflix or anything like that to watch Amir Khan come out of retirement and fight Pacquiao. It'd be a little bit different if he actually, in those fights with Crawford and especially Kell Brook, had shown something and maybe even beat Brook in that fight. But that was a shocking performance from Amir Khan, and he quit against Terence Crawford. So again, I don't know why he would be thinking that fight would be as big as he thinks it is anyway. All right, now just another thing, this week with the announcement of Nikita Tszyu and Michael Zarafa, it got me sort of thinking, where would this rate as far as the biggest all Aussie fights of all time? We've had a few, and I just went over a few, and I'm bound to forget some, but I was just having a bit of a look over it, and I thought, just what is the biggest all Aussie fight of all time, and some of the honourable mentions? Well, I think we would have to go to Anthony Mundine and Danny Green as the biggest Australian fight of all time. I don't know the exact numbers as far as pay-per-views and all this sort of stuff goes, but I think in this day and age, it would just blow the roof off as far as pay-per-view buys. And it's 2006, it's only 19 years ago, but in this day and age with the stadium, they'd probably need, they did have it at a football stadium back then, but I reckon they'd probably almost sell out Marvel Stadium these days if they did it in Melbourne. The pay-per-views, again, as I said, would be through the roof, and the amount of money it would generate. Now that we're a lot more educated as far as the pay-per-view and the marketing and sponsorship and all that stuff goes compared to 19 years ago. So that, for me, still the number one all Aussie fight. Number two was an interesting one. I've probably gone with and I know a lot of the old timers will come out with a lot of their fights. I'm just going by sort of my recollection. Correct me if I'm wrong and give me some others, but I'd probably say Tim Tszyu, Jeff Horn. Would that be number 2? That's probably, I mean, in the context of things and what was at stake, no world titles, not that Mundine and Green had a world title either, but that's probably the fight I can probably think of that sort of got the non-traditional, well, we call them casuals, but the non-traditional type of boxing fans who follow the sport but aren't really into it too much, who just sort of follow the big fights. I think that's the first fight since Mundine Green that really captivated the country. Tim Tszyu, of course, the son of a legend, Jeff Horn, beat Pacquiao, all that sort of stuff. So I reckon that would have been number 2. I know recent history sort of dominates the thought processes, but I would think Tszyu, Horn. Number 3 for me, I'm probably thinking Barry Michael, Lester Ellis would probably be number 3 for me as far as interest at the time. Now, I know probably interstate or outside Victoria probably wasn't as big as others. The other 2 were sort of more national type of events, but in Melbourne it was just massive. I know I've probably talked about this fight a few times, but Barry Michael, Lester Ellis for me would be number 3. Then I reckon you could throw a blanket over a lot of different fights. I'll go through some, maybe no particular order. Give me your thoughts anyway, but I would have thought that, I don't know, Jeff Horn and Anthony Mundine was a pretty big fight, I suppose. We all knew, well, we didn't probably know how finished Mundine was at the time. Remember, this was 2018, I think it was. And I think a lot of people did actually give Mundine a chance of winning, but you'd throw that in there. Horn Zerafa 2 would probably be up there as well. The first one, not so much, because Michael Zerafa was a complete unknown, was seen as a warm-up for Jeff Horn. Sprung the upset, but I think the second fight, even though it was only about 3 months later, Dean Lonigan from DNL Sports was really keen to avenge that loss and move on, and they did, even though it was a tough fight. So I'd probably put that in there. I don't know, Anthony Mundine, Daniel Gear would probably be in there as well. Where they had a couple of fights, 2 or 3 fights, whatever it was, 2 fights. With some others there. We've got Barry Michael and Graham Brook was big back in the day. Liam Paro, Brock Jarvis, I suppose. This was a more recent one. I know people will laugh at that one, but did generate a little bit of interest. Maybe I'm just grasping at straws a little bit there. I don't know. Who else we got there? Well, I remember back in the day too, it was actually fought in Swan Hill in Victoria, of all places. Dean Waters and Dave Russell was a big heavyweight fight back in the day. And I don't know why they held it in Swan Hill, but it was a really big Aussie title fight. A lot of you people from the most recent times wouldn't know those guys, but Dean Waters, Dave Russell was big. Who else we got there? I remember Jeff Malcolm, Pat Leglise was a big fight as well. I know, again, I'm grasping at straws here. Lester Alasdair Tango was a big one. And even most recently, I suppose you could say Michael Zerafa and Isaac Hardman, even though the fight had zero relevance as far as world level goes. Michael was world ranked, Isaac Hardman was nowhere near it, or ranked anyway, but a pretty big Aussie name. That was a big build-up and a big fight as well. So I'm not sure. So I think I haven't missed any there, I'm pretty sure. But for me, I think the top 3, Mundine Green 1. You could maybe throw in Mundine Green 2 in there, I suppose, if you really wanted to. But Mundine Green 1, Tszyu Horn, and sort of funny sounder, isn't it? Tszyu Horn, a Tszyu versus Horn, I'll say. And Barry Michael, Lester Ellis would be the number 3 fight for me anyway. So, and then as I said, the rest you could probably throw a blanket over. So, but give me your thoughts. What are some of the biggest all Aussie fights of all time? And no doubt I've missed one glaring, or at least one, and maybe 2 or 3, I don't know, glaring omissions. I just sort of did it off the bat this morning as I attempted to go for my first walk and jotted a few down, but they're my picks anyway. So give me your thoughts, and just on also with Amir Khan. Am I being a little bit unfair on Amir Khan? Would the fight with Manny Pacquiao generate the same interest as Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson? I'm going to stick with my answer of no, but maybe I'm being a little bit harsh as far as his legacy goes. I'm not sure. Let me know. But guys, that'll do it for today. Hope you have a great Friday. Certainly hope the weather is a lot better where you are than what it is here. But we'll get on with the day. Have a good one, and happy Halloween. We'll catch you tomorrow.